Tony, do you know anything more on Ramón Laureano yet?
It sounds like it's going to be kind of day-to-day, something with his ankle. I don't want to be specific as to what it is, but right now indications are it's going to be just a couple days.
Chayce McDermott fell behind a lot tonight. Was that maybe one of the bigger issues that you found that he was dealing with over, in 4 2/3?
I actually thought he kept us in the game. I thought he did a pretty good job. He did fall behind at times, but it seemed like when he needed to make a pitch and get it out, he did it. Gave up looks like a couple home runs, right? The one pop-up, little bit of like a communication between second baseman, right fielder. It happens. Ball falls in, then, boom, a homer. Counts for 2 points instead of 1. So I actually thought Chayce did a pretty good job. Kept us in the game, got us into the 6th, right? We're down 3-0. Come back, score a couple runs. Had a shot.
I know he's probably trying to not think about it, but how hard can it be for a guy like Chayce to come in that position, losing 7 straight, and try to be the one to let me stop this? How hard can it be?
Probably a good question for him, but I thought he handled it great, and he did a great job.
Played pretty good defense this series up till that 8th inning tonight, and then just what? I mean, how much concern is that, or is it just kind of a fluky thing? Or
I feel like the defense has actually settled down here over the last month. I think we came out of the gates out of spring training a little bit funky defensively. I think a lot of that kind of dated back to Gunnar not being at shortstop and having our everyday shortstop. I think once Gunnar kind of got in there, I thought it settled down the whole infield, which kind of settled down the outfield. Tonight was probably the first night where a couple defensive miscues showed up for us, but it happens. It's baseball.
You mentioned the 7th, 2 out RBIs there from Ramon and Jackson. How impressed were you with their way to? It hasn't always been the case this year with runners in scoring position, but coming through with 2 outs in that spot, giving you a chance.
Yeah, I feel like we've been a little bit better here lately. In those scenarios, I feel like it's starting to trend in a better direction. The whole inning, there was several 2-strike hits in that inning, which, guys are battling, they're competing. I think Mountie had a 2-strike hit, Cedric had a 2-strike hit. Trying to think of the Yuri's 2-strike hit, flipped the one in. Jackson, the big bullet almost got over the fence, would have tied the thing up. So close, just kind of didn't go our way in that scenario. But the boys battled, kind of fell apart for us right there in the 8th inning. Trying to keep it close in that scenario, didn't work out. Try again tomorrow.
You talked about the fight your guys have shown the last couple of days. Seems the offense is second half of the game really showing that fight. Have you noticed any trends about why it's showing up in the second half of the game and not so much the first?
They're just battling. I don't know. I wouldn't think that they're not battling in the first inning and they're battling in the 6th inning. I think you probably have to give credit to, their starter Henderson. Looks like the 4 seam, the changeup, kind of had his best stuff tonight. He was tough, man. Just from the side, kind of a low slot. Ball was jumping on our guys, but the fellas kept going. And we'll keep doing that. And at some point, it's going to probably turn in our direction.
Snowballing mistakes has been a theme throughout the season, on and off. What would be your message to the guys when you see something like that happening, 8th inning, multiple errors in the same inning, of just trying to let one mistake be one mistake and not letting it turn into more?
Yeah, I don't feel like we've had the snowballing mistakes on the defensive side of the ball for a while. I feel like that was definitely and fairly the story early in the season. Over the last several weeks, I think we've played really good defense. Tonight was just one of those nights, and I think even the teams with the best record in the major leagues right now, they probably have a night here or there or an inning here or there where it doesn't go their way.